Is the voice okay? Can you all hear? You want me to stand higher? Okay. Your mic. Okay. So anyway, it is absolutely a pleasure to be here today. The way this usually goes in our household, just so you have an idea, is the mic, for me I'm hearing a little funniness.
We are too.
Yeah, I'm going to stand right here. How about that? We'll try that. Marilyn's telling me to move closer to the mic.
Yeah, bring it up. You can put it down.
Do you want me to?
No. Stand to the side, Larry.
Move the arm up.
We'll go over here.
Just take the arm, turn it a little bit.
Pardon?
Because when you're further away, I gotta push.
So what do you want me to do? I want to
Lift it up
get
for me.
this.
Yeah, for the benefit of those
Just
further
do right.
recording.
I'll be distracted.
Knock him out.
Okay, we'll do that.
There you go.
Perfect. Okay, rewind. Hi, everybody. Welcome. This auspicious day, this is an auspicious day. I did a little research today. And today happens to be the second largest consumption of food in America besides one other day, Thanksgiving. So we call today Super Bowel Sunday. I told you that joke would work. And I told her I would do one joke, and that was my joke. Anyway, thank you again for having us. And the way in our household it goes like this, I get a message from Cindy, and I go, this is awesome. We get to come back to our community. And then she goes, oh, what? A talk? When? I go, trust me, it's awesome. And she always is. Me, we're not for sure of. But she's always stellar. She'll be closing out with a meditation. When I think of coming here and I think of Sunday talks, I had been, my years here in Unity, I had been in the back doing the sound, and my sense of it is there was always this golden nugget that the speakers always offered, an amazing golden nugget. And sometimes those golden nuggets came from somebody's experience, or somebody had a life-changing experience, something really remarkable, and they shared their golden moment, their golden nugget. And then people would come in and they'd talk about something they learned on this path of life, and you'd sit there and go, wow, that was really amazing. And sometimes when I was at the soundboard, I get a sense there was a separation between the speaker and me, the speaker and us, because it was almost like, I want to have what he has, I want to have what she has, and there's a gap. And when Cindy connected with me on this one, I said, I don't want a gap. I'm you, I'm of this community. I am Unity of Bremerton. And that's what really, that this is called talking from the heart. It's not from the head, it's really in the heart. Because for Carmel and I, this is our church. We met in this church. And some of our dearest friends are in this church, this community. It's a blessing. There is no separation. There is none. And it is an honor to be here, truly. And so this message is really talking about how, me personally, how I landed here. And it's a very long story, but I'll condense it. Because it really is a weave. And it's a weave about following the heart and following our intuition along that path. And this story started about 30 years ago. It's kind of an amazing one. 30 years ago, I was an up-and-coming principal, and I was just living a life that I always had in my head. This is what life was to be. And one day, and this is actually 30 years ago, I have a car accident, and I am most fortunate to be able to walk out of that, basically untouched, flipped my car on Highway 101 in California, going somewhere around 65 miles an hour. And one message came through to me at that moment, was the idea that for some reason I'd be standing in front of groups of people and I would be speaking. And because in my head, I thought that was the principal thing. I kind of dug in deeper and said, yes, I'm on the right path. That principal thing is that place for me, because that's where I get to speak to just rooms of people. But little did I know, that wasn't the path that I was really on. It wasn't. And so I'll share a quote. Cease trying to work everything out with your minds. It will get you nowhere. Live by intuition, inspiration, and let your whole life be the revelation. Eileen Cady, with that quote. Because what happened was 20 years ago, 10 years after the car accident, the real crash happened. That's when all of a sudden, all those visions that I had of being a principal just came to one forefront of a conversation. And that conversation was with my supervisor, and it sounded like this. If I won the lotto, or if I happen to have a life-threatening illness, I wouldn't be doing this job anymore. It came out of my mouth. And I realized that was the crash. I couldn't do it anymore. And I eventually came to this place and I said, what am I going to do with my life? What am I going to do? Intuition spoke truth. You're going to be supporting families on a path called advocacy. There were no advocates in Washington. There were very few advocates in the state, as well as across the country. And lo and behold, following intuition, following the heart, I've been on that path for over 20 years, and I'm grateful for that. Now, how does that connect? We'll get there. However, another person in our life who has great influence has the following quote, and this is from Oprah. What God intended for you goes, let me restate that. What God intended for you goes far beyond anything you can imagine. It fits. Here I was thinking, my career, I'm not a principal anymore. What am I going to do? I'm moving into advocacy work, and no one's ever done this before. And all of a sudden, I'm taking the ferry boat, going back and forth to places where I had never been, and I was hoping that, and I remember sitting in my car before every meeting that I'd go to going, man, I hope that I actually make sense. I hope I could actually make a difference. Because there was something within me, within my intuition that said, you are on the right path. Well, on those ferry rides, this is 10 years ago, all of a sudden I see a magazine, and it was called North Star Matters. And it was just about parenting, and it was about ways that we could enhance our lives as parents working with our kids. And I looked at this magazine, and it just kind of came in, again, intuition came through, and said, you're going to write for this magazine. You could do this. And I wrote them saying, hey, listen, I'd like to move in this direction. I'd like to see, maybe I could contribute. Within a week and a half, I get a response back. Lo and behold, within about a month and a half, and this is 10 years ago, I'm starting to write for this magazine. It's locally based, but publishing all around the region in Washington State. I didn't know that it was going to later be bought by the Unity Church. And it was called Unity Family Matters. They changed the name. So now I'm writing for a national magazine in the Unity Church, which is actually interesting because I had never been to a Unity Church. I had no idea. So I decided, it might be worth to check it out. So I came over to the church on Trenton, and Max was doing a presentation. He was doing the Sunday talk, and I thought, wow, this is awesome. I am home. I am home. Well, lo and behold, I found out that this church was closing up, the doors were going to be shut, and it was going to be no more. And I thought, well, that's not good. That's not the direction I want to go in that way. So I put that Unity Church off to the side. To make that story now even more interesting, I ended up getting married, and one of the things that my to-be wife at that time said is, hey, let's go to that church that's on Trenton there. You know that Unity Church? Let's do that. I go, I don't think that's a good idea. Last I heard, they're closing up. I don't think it's, no, she goes, I think there's something happening there. I think we should check it out. So we jumped in the car, we went, and all of a sudden we walk in, and there's this amazing church, and whoa, this is different than I remember. There are no more pews, there are these blue chairs, and people are just kind of like friendly, and it's like, wow, this is welcoming. And they're on the stage, doing the talk, doing the ministry work. Happens to be this woman, and it's Carmel. And all of a sudden I went, oh my God. See, I'm sitting with my wife. And we had been, in fact, at that time I was going through counseling work because I had discovered pretty early on in this marriage that it wasn't the right thing. It was a mistake. And I'm sitting there, oh my God, my heart is coming out of my body. There's this woman who's on stage, and I'm thinking, she's the one, because lo and behold, she was the one. We met a few years earlier at a yoga class, and it never was something that myself or her ever forgot. And I was always on this path going, when am I going to meet her? When am I going to meet her? Well, we never did, until that Sunday. But I'm married. Oh my gosh. Well, lo and behold, the marriage ends. We eventually become not only best friends, but partners in life. And to make the story even more interesting, my wife at the time, today, she happens to be like the live partner wife of my brother. Who would think? Intuition. Following your heart. Like, really, God intended for us goes far beyond anything you can imagine. Isn't that so true? So true. So now, moving 5 years ago, living in this connection, Carmel moves out of the Unity Church. She goes beyond and doing other things. And we are living in a house in Alala, and life is going fairly well for us. We have friends coming over our home. And we all of a sudden discover that we have to move because the rent is going outrageously high, and we're thinking, this is silly, we don't know what to do. So 5 years ago, we put our hat into the ring in terms of trying to figure out where we're gonna go. Someone shows a house to us that really seems like something that we could never, afford. And everybody told us, please don't buy. Because prior to our visit, the home was a vagrant home. It was going to be a teardown, and one of the most notorious flippers in the county bought this house, flipped it, and everybody said, don't even go there. Don't even look at this house. Well, we did. Intuition pops up, listen to your heart. In a conversation with our agent, during the inspection, Carmel turns to the agent and says, you know, we'll get a sign. A message will come to us about this house. Lo and behold, it happened quite immediately. As she and the agent are looking up, because they're looking at a horrific inspection report, they see above the house, within basically 50, 60 feet of the house, 5 eagles circling the house. What kind of message is that? She turns to the agent and says, we're doing it. Now, I wasn't there at that particular time. And I go, that was not a good inspection. And she goes, honey, we're doing it. It's divine. It was definitely, we were inspired. And we've moved on, and it's just been a blessing ever since. Now let's connect it back to unity. In our home, in this room today, some of our best, closest friends in our life join us each week in our home and on Sundays as well. And we are so blessed to be a part of this community, the Unity community, which has really touched our lives. And it's always been this amazing whirlwind of doors opening and things closing, God's intervention, but most importantly, listening to the voice within our hearts and our intuition along the way. So going back, when we talked earlier, this was weeks ago, I said, hey, I'm going to turn this into Super Bowl Sunday talk. This is going to be awesome. And she said, Larry, do you realize the people who show up, especially on Super Bowl Sunday, don't want to have anything to do with the Super Bowl? I go, yeah, I know, but it just seems like such a hook. It's clever. I let it go. Up until this week when I was looking at some quotes on intuition, and I found the following. This is awesome. The more you trust your intuition, the more empowered you become, the stronger you become, and the happier you become. I'll do it again. The more you trust your intuition, the more empowered you become, the stronger you become, and the happier you become. pretty wise, spot on. And that's our story. That quote is from Giselle Bundchen, who happens to be the wife of Tom Brady. What do you think? So that's my Super Bowl connection. So in closing, here we are today. Here we are today. Likely this is going to be our last talk for a year or so, because we're going on another adventure. Now, people know about Carmel and I. We go on adventures and we go to these remarkable places and things like that, and it's been extraordinary. It's kind of a different adventure. There's a sign in our home that says the following, and those of you, many of you in the room have been there. We have a sign that says, "We travel the world in search of what we need, and we return home to find it." So true. And instead of us traveling the world and doing all these crazy things that we are known to do, we're going to go on an adventure, but we're going to do this adventure inward. And it's within ourselves in that particular life. And so when we return, our vision is we're going to be transforming ourselves to a whole new version of us. Carmel, Larry, and us together in that life. We'll have stories to tell, we'll have nuggets on this path, but most notably, and this is the point, most notably, we'll have better versions of ourselves to be able to share to the world. And that's what we're striving for, the best that we could be. And that really comes through, again, the intuition, following the heart, and being able to move in that particular path. So with that particular transition, as our true heart guides us toward our true selves, listening to the heart, we're going to be listening inside. So I'm going to ask my Valentine, my partner, Carmel, to help guide us moving forward. Thank you so much.
I never know what he's going to say. And I sit over there going, he really just said that out loud. But it's okay, it was beautiful, it touched my heart. There was one part in there I think he didn't mention. When he was writing for that Unity magazine, he ended up doing their radio broadcast. So he was on Unity Live for quite a while, actually. There's several recordings, you can still go listen to him. So he was a big part of that Unity transition. So I'm going to guide you in a meditation today, and it's fascinating because I didn't get a chance to read the daily word. So when Marilyn came up here, which is always my favorite part, the daily word, and I found out that the word was harmony, it touched my heart because that's what the meditation is about today. It's about harmony and rhythm. And when your heart is in that place, it heals. It can heal all things. So, let's move from there. And the other thing that I noticed was that in today's bulletin, there's a quote by Charles Fillmore, and I'd like to share that with you. It says, "Love harmonizes. Thy harmonizing love is mine, and I am restored to peace and health. Divine love, like a magnet, charges my mind and prospers all my affairs." Divine love, like a magnet, charges my mind and prospers my affairs. It's so beautiful. So today we're going to explore the part of ourselves which is the source of love, our heart space. From here, your whole life can be harmonized. So I invite you to please find a comfortable position with your hands lightly in your lap, with your palms facing upwards, and gently close your eyes. Allow your breath to flow naturally and effortlessly. Connect with your body and notice any tension it might be holding. Send loving thoughts to any areas in need of attention. And invite your body to release any stress, any tension. Let your shoulders relax. Just let that stress and tension simply melt away with each inhalation and exhalation. As you continue to inhale and exhale, allow yourself to feel calmer and calmer and more relaxed. And now that you are relaxed and in a state of peace, I invite you to look deeply within your heart for any issue or place of darkness that might be in need of healing or extra love. Take a little time to observe it. Acknowledge its characteristics. See if you can find a way that it has gifted you, possibly taught you something you needed to know about yourself. Trust your intuition to tell you what that lesson is or that gift. You can turn it around in your mind, see it differently. Ask it, what did you come here to show me? Once again, see if you can find a way that it has gifted you or taught you something you needed to know about yourself. And then thank it for the lessons it came here to teach you. Now in your mind's eye, place it lovingly on the platter you hold in your hands, and then set it on the floor. You can pick it up later if you find you need to hold on to it. But for now, let it rest. And then gently introduce this mantra. times. You just listen gently. My heart beats in rhythm and harmony with God's love, and I am healed. My heart beats in rhythm and in harmony with God's love, and I am healed. The repetition of this mantra during meditation helps you to connect with your heart's healing energy, and it opens you to the flow that is your essential nature, which is love. I invite you to repeat it silently to yourself. My heart beats in rhythm and in harmony with God's love, and I am healed. My heart beats in rhythm and in harmony with God's love, and I am healed. My heart beats in rhythm and in harmony with God's love, and I am healed. Every beat of your heart is a rhythm of your soul. My heart beats in rhythm with the harmony and with rhythm and in harmony with God's love, and I am healed. I am a harmonizing presence as I let God be God in me. My heart beats in rhythm and in harmony with God's love, and I am healed. Divine love, wisdom, and understanding bring harmony to my world. My heart beats in rhythm and harmony with God's love, and I am healed. I invite you to say these words along with me. My heart beats in rhythm and in harmony with God's love, and I am healed. My heart beats in rhythm and in harmony with God's love, and I am healed. Can you imagine what happens when each of us expands our energy from a feeling of love to a being of love? My heart beats in rhythm with the harmony of God's love, and we are healed. My heart beats in rhythm and harmony with God's love, and my family is healed. My heart beats in rhythm and harmony with God's love, and our community is healed. My heart beats in rhythm and harmony with God's love, and our nation is healed. My heart beats in rhythm and harmony with God's love, and our planet is healed. This is all reflected in a beautiful quote from the poet Rumi. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. As your heart beats in rhythm and harmony with God's love, you expand your energy out to the world. To keep this flow of love and motion during your day today, practice giving the energy of love to yourself and each person that crosses your path. As you give, so shall you receive. If at any time during the day you find your thoughts criticizing or judging yourself or others, take a moment and breathe deeply. And as you exhale, gently forgive yourself and remember the truth of who you are. I am an harmonizing presence as I let God be God in me. Take another deep breath and affirm in a state of loving kindness. My heart beats in rhythm